Howdy everybody, welcome back. This is CTO for the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiance the other way. So did you guys watch that last night? Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm still on a high because we did a video, I just did a live now a couple of minutes ago for Seeking Brother Husbands. You guys have got to go check that video out because that is something else. But we're here for the 90 day nonsense, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, this is also going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's go ahead and get started. So we started the episode with Nicole and Mahmoud. And I got to take a look at my notes here, guys, because this is so much to talk about. So on 90 Day Fiance, Mahmoud, they start off the episode where basically he's upset with her. She's upset with him. And it's like, okay, what happened? Because we saw them last week. They seem to be okay for like 5 minutes, but it never lasts too long. The armistice never fully comes, to full term with these guys. So Mahmoud, so now they show like 5 hours prior what led up to this particular argument. So Mahmoud, it's time to show her how to pray. As we know, he's Muslim and they live in Egypt, and she has converted for him, and she is not down with the religion. I don't even know why she even bothered doing that. I mean, I just don't get it. Like, what is it about Mahmoud that really is so appealing? I mean, he's scrawny, he's young. What's he, like 9 years younger than her, something like that? I mean, he's not wealthy. He's not particularly the nicest guy, and he's obviously grown up in a culture that doesn't allow him to see her fully as who she is as a woman. So you can't undo that training he has. That's just where he's from, right? So like, why even, I mean, he can undo it on his own, but you can't go into something thinking you can change someone. It's just ridiculous. So it's time for him to show her how to pray, right? Because this is something that his uncle said that he needs to have her do to be a good Muslim wife, blah, blah, blah. So then he starts singing his prayers, or chanting. I don't know if that's the right way you would say it. And she is really like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. I love his voice. And in that moment, it gave me a little bit into, I don't know, like I got to see like a little bit more, because I'm like, what's the draw here? But I think for her, maybe it's just because he's just so, to her, just probably just so exotic. And I think when he was singing, instead of being like, oh my goodness, hold on one second. What's this? Is the sound not going?
No, the video is blurry.
It's blurry? It looks clear to me. Hold on, guys. I'm checking my technical support here. Can you show that to me again? All right, well, we just have to do what we have to do for right now, because I'm doing a live right now, so it's nothing I can do. So so yeah, she likes the sound of his voice, and I think that's more a function of her being, enamored with someone from another culture, because another culture can seem so otherworldly when you come from a small town, and she seemed like she grew up kind of sheltered. So I think that's what it is. Because I'm just not seeing it. When I look at Mahmoud, listen, honey, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. So anyway, it's a hot day and it's time for them to go to the pool. So, they had already had discussion/arguments about what she's going to wear to the pool. And she basically gets some scuba gear out. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my God. Okay. All right. I guess that's what she has to wear. If she wants to be able to dip her toes, honey, I'll stay home and be in the bathtub. It wouldn't be me. So she's asking about the suit, and then she says to him like, okay, well, when I put the suit on, will I have to wear something underneath it? Boy, why did she say that? He cut his eyes at her so bad. I mean, just in that moment, he was so upset, and he walks off, and she's like, what? I just asked you, do I have to put something on underneath? But I guess he expects her to wear a full pair of jeans and a hoodie, underneath the scuba diving gear. I'm just not understanding what's going on. I mean, she already looks like she's going snorkeling. So yeah, that I mean, this is just trouble in paradise, or should I say in the desert, because I don't know what's going on with these two. So now we have Chris and Jamie. And Chris gets out of, she finds out that her court obligation that she said that she may or may not have to go to, she won't need to go to. So they have this anniversary trip plan where they go glamping, right? There was some bubbles they saw it on the road or whatever, they researched it and they want to go there. So Chris decides that she wants to repropose to Jamie, like, quote unquote, the right way. And I didn't realize that she had proposed to Jamie so soon after they met. It was like a month or something like that. I mean, I couldn't believe how soon it was. But anyway, she wants to give her proper proposal. So she sets it all up and with rose petals, will you marry me and everything. And she's like, I don't even know if she's going to be able to read this. I'm like, oh, geez, Mary Joseph, you can't make this up, right? So Jamie of course she proposes because she doesn't want her. First of all, she's relieved to find out that Chris is not going to have to go back to Alabama. And, but they said for now. So I don't know if that's like, maybe later she will be obligated to appear, but it seems like for now she'll be able to stay in the country with her, mint allergy and her neck pain and the pain medication situation and, everything else she's got going on. So now we get back to Danielle back in the Dominican Republic. Well, actually, we start off with her in New York City in this particular episode because she is packing up her apartment. She's moving everything out. She's got all these suitcases. She had to finish off the school year. Now, this was interesting because I don't recall, do you guys recall any kind of her saying anything about like her having to like finish tying up loose ends in New York City? I thought when she moved to DR, she was there for good, but whatever. So yeah, she's got all these bags and stuff. So, and then she gets her flight and goes back to DR. So he's going to pick her up a little bit later on. So now we get to my favorite. All right, Debbie and Oshama. Okay. So they had that fight the night before, and now about her having to go back to the United States for 2 months. So Osama knocks on the door, and she answers. And listen, girlfriend, if she didn't have the biggest peacock fan, I mean, she's so dramatic. I mean, I just love it. See, I even did my hair. I had to do like a little ode to Debbie today with my hair. I had to do half up, half down, honey, because we had to honor our fair Debbie. So he says to her about the, he wants to talk and everything. And he says to her, basically, I don't know if he's lying or whatever, but he's saying, or just, is this just pure translation error? He's saying that he didn't know that when she came here, she was going to be moving here permanently. And I'm like, well, how'd you not figure that out? I mean, didn't you guys have a discussion about it? And she's like, you knew I was coming. Like, what do you think I'm doing with all this stuff? You think this is just for a couple of months? So now we get back to Jen and Rishi. So she's getting ready to go back to the States because her ass did not, like, I don't know. She couldn't even be bothered to read the visa properly. So she has to reapply for a visa. So she's got to go back to the States. And who knows when she's going to be able to come back in because of all of India's restrictions right now, especially around COVID and stuff like that. So before parting ways, he decides to propose to her. And it's like, okay, that's nice, but aren't y'all engaged already? Wasn't the whole point of her moving there? Like, they should have been married already at this point, not him proposing before she leaves. I don't know what that's all about. So then we get back to Nicole and Mahmoud. So they're at the pool now. And good Lord, oh my God, they just start fighting in the street. And it's like, I mean, he's just so mad at her. And she's like, I don't even know, like, fully what the argument is about, because it always comes back down to clothes somehow. And it's just, girl, you just need to get out of there. You shouldn't have to be arguing with somebody about how many times you're allowed to, how many inches you're allowed to roll your sleeve up, or, oh no, that's too much wrist showing. And she's like, they're arguing, and it gets really heated because he wants her to come back with him and she's refusing. Next thing you know, he grabs her arm. She pulls it away, and he does like that, like he was about to lay the smack down on. I was like, hold on. And she was like, I'm not gonna let this. Finally, she grew a pair, right? She's like, I'm not gonna let this little young guy, he's like 9 years younger than me, sit here and tell me what to do and where I can go and where I can't go. Nicole, girl, I hope I'm assuming she's back in America now. I don't know that for sure, but I just cannot imagine. She cannot get through one day in that society. It will not work. So now, all right, we go over to Debbie and Osama. So they're at the beach, and then they see this camel pass by, right? And she's like, "Oh my God, it's a camel! I just can't wait to get on a camel." So she gets her ass on that camel. Next thing you know, Debbie, she's like, "I don't know how I'll ever be able to get up there." And then she takes her big old foot and she somehow whirls it over that camel, and he's like, "Okay, just like chill out," right? And then she's on the camel, she's like, "Whoa, I'm on a camel." And she's just acting crazy, just like the jewelry and the caftans and like the fans and stuff. She is a nut, and I love it. So then, they finish the camel ride, and she asks him, like, are you embarrassed by, like, because people always look at, of course they're going to draw on a lot of attention. First of all, she's a foreigner. Second of all, she is old enough to be his grandmother. And I'm sure they get looks, but at the same time, they can't do PDA. So it's not like they're smooching and stuff like that. And I don't even know if they're holding hands. I doubt they're holding hands. But she still is aware, nonetheless, of the attention that is causing. And she wants to know, like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, "No, you're such a free spirit. You have the spirit of a child. I really like that about you. I'm so drawn to that about you," and stuff like that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, all that's good and fine, but we got to figure out this whole living situation, right? I mean, because he's thinking, she's going to be leaving in like 7 weeks. He's got the countdown going. He's probably thinking, all right, well, how much money can she leave me before she goes back? So now we have Jen. All right, so Jen, she goes home. She's back in Oklahoma, and she reunites with her family. And they ask about her status and everything. And, she flashes the ring. And, like, that's supposed to mean anything. I mean, why would they care about the ring? You're supposed to be there being a little Indian housewife at this point, right? Wasn't that the plan? I mean, I don't understand why should they be, like, excited about that? And her brother's like, I don't even trust this situation. They don't trust Rishi. And because they don't trust her judgment, basically, they've seen her track record with men. So now we're back in the DR with Danielle and Johan. So he picks her up from the airport, and she's got a million bags. And he rented a car from the same people that he normally rents cars from. Like in her like some car rental place or whatever. But I think looked like more like a sedan or something. I guess she was thinking, like, she's gonna pull up in an SUV. Honey, this is not New York, okay? In New York, you call those cabs or the car services, and a nice, a Lincoln Navigator comes all roomy and nice and everything. Like, she's so used to New York City, and I can understand that. But then she starts going in on him about why he didn't get the right car. He probably didn't know you had that much stuff, and you probably didn't communicate to him that you had that much stuff either. Why didn't you say? How would he know how much stuff you have, right? He lives very humbly. I'm sure if he were to move out of his house, he wouldn't have well, I know he's a man, not a woman, but still, I'm sure women in his family, if they were to move someplace else, they wouldn't have them 15,000 suitcases either. How would he even know that? Get out of here, Danielle. You just get on my damn nerves. So, she just got mad shit. I mean, just way too much stuff to be taking. She's got more stuff than a person should own, moving to a little island trying to downsize their life. But whatever, she's in her 40s. I mean, you got a lot of stuff, I guess. So then after that, she insists on driving because now she's afraid that her suitcase is going to fall off the top. And they're going back and forth, and then he comes in with some, now he's becoming machismo, right? Which, not to say that he didn't have that before, but I feel like I'm never in defense of machismo. I'm never in defense of it, okay? I'm a feminist. So, but at the same time, I feel as though she did push him to the edge, and sometimes people will say messed up stuff when they feel pushed. So then he's like, no, let me do what I need to do as a man. Now, I understand if he feels like as a man, he wants to help her and carry the heavy stuff like that. That I get. But then he says, like, I'm the man, so I'm going to do the driving. I don't want people looking at me when we're driving in the car. Or was she the one that said that he doesn't want people looking at him and looking at her in the car, like, why is she driving or something like that? He wants to be the manly one. Like, that's kind kind of stupid to me, but, hey, maybe if you would have told him what car to get him an SUV, get you an SUV, you could have avoided that entire situation. So now, they're arguing about the patriarchy and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a little bit late for that. You know who you marry, and you know what culture he comes from, and you know what religion and everything he comes from. So don't be trying to change stuff now. That's what I'm saying. Like, why are people always trying to go over to people's countries and change their whole way of thinking? Why do you, as the American, get to be the one that gets to change a whole other set of stuff? I don't agree with a lot of that stuff. And like I said before, I am not going on to vacation.com and booking nothing in any place where I can't dress like, how I want to dress or whatever. But that's my business. But I've made that decision. I know I couldn't do well in those societies, so I have no interest to go there. But why do you think that you're the special one? Dominican Republic, I cannot, compare Dominican Republic to the Middle East, because Middle East is a whole nother level, right? But still, there is a machismo culture that is very pervasive in Latin America, and I don't know why she thinks, oh, whatever. She just talks me to exhaustion, this Danielle. So now we see Gabe. Now Gabe picks up Isabel's parents so that they can go for a horse ride. And, they're getting ready. Gabe is nervous, shitting bricks, literally, because he knows that he is going to have to reveal his gender status to her parents. So, we see some scenes for next week about that. And I just don't know how that father's going to react now. I don't know if you already knew before or if this is like real true, in real time kind of reaction, but that man is religious. He is religious. It seems like her mom might, she might be a little bit more flexible, but I don't see it with the dad. I just don't see it. So, I hope that, I just don't see it. I can hope all I want. Hope springs eternal, but I do not see this man changing his mind for Gabe. No matter how much he wants a really good, stable, entrepreneur from America with no kids, all this good stuff, very docile, or I wouldn't say he's docile, but Gabe is very non-threatening. Who wouldn't want their daughter to be with someone, who possesses all those qualities, is very generous and caring and stuff like that. But I think that's where he's going to draw the line at the trans status. I really do. It's unfortunate, but I just don't understand why just not do all that before you move there? You know what I mean? Like, because he's asking Isabel, like, is it going to be between me and your parents? And she's like, well, don't put me in that position. Who's not going to, I'm going to choose my family. Of course, if it's a person you love, you may want to try and get your family to change their mind or something. But at the end of the day, you can go back to wherever and to Florida and she'll be left high and dry. Who does she have? She has her family. And as a single mom, I'm sure she really relies on her family for their support. So, I think it's just a bad, it's just a bad thing all the way around. Oh, what'd you say? Oh, you're back. Oh, I didn't even see this chat. Let me open this up. That's weird. It showed up in a strange place. It was intense last night, wasn't it? That was intense. So Nicole needs to get out of there before she has a little domestic situation, because I'm telling you, Mahmoud, he's like, you're embarrassing me out here in these Egyptian streets. And, this is not how, people behave. Women don't act like this. They're not allowed to yell and have confrontations and stuff like that. What really protected her was the fact that camera crew was there. Because I bet if that camera crew was not there, I think it would have turned into a little domestic situation, if you know what I mean, of the physical nature. So, we got to see what happens next week with these people. And I'm just curious with Debbie and Osama, how are they going to work this out? He doesn't even think he thinks she's there for a vacation. Like, what's going on? Is she treating him more like a son or something like that? We know some of you, girl, Susan. This is just, listen, there are certain laws that are tied in with religion in certain countries, and women do not have agency. And I'm telling you, some people, girl, yeah, exactly. That's what scares me. That's what scares me. And what scares me is that even more is that it could be an international incident. You know what I mean? Where maybe she wants to leave and maybe he can claim, with their laws and stuff, he can keep her there because once you're, technically there and you've converted to Islam, then now you're subject to Islamic laws and stuff like that. In Latin countries, almost a church on every block. That's true, and especially Central America. I don't know about currently right now, but I know at least as recently as a couple of years ago, like abortion was completely. I mean, you could not. I mean, because it's so Catholic. And that's Catholic. Catholicism is not what most people would consider to be an extreme religion, but and any religion can have its extremity on different ends of the spectrum, but you wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't think a Catholic country would be that strict, but it is. It can be. It can be. So that's why I really fully appreciate the separation of church and state. I don't need your philosophy mandating what happens to my body. And that's just how I feel about that. So I don't know. Hopefully we got a rescue mission squad set up for Nicole. Hopefully she's back here on U.S. soil. I really hope so because that situation is dangerous. It's getting dangerous. And, if he were to put his hands on her, I don't know that anyone would support her. Because, I mean, husbands are allowed to hit their wives. So, I mean, what are you doing? He brings you nothing. He adds no kind of value to your life. What are you doing? And especially after you've been on this show, these men are going to be hitting her up left and right. She'll be able to find, put her on one of these, extended age versions of The Bachelor. Little blonde girl like that, they'll snap her up like that. I mean, she would find somebody. I just don't understand why she needs to. I don't know. I mean, she could do fine here. I just don't understand. But anyway, that's about it. That's all I have to say about 90 Day Fiance. You guys, thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Susan. I will see you guys today is Monday. I will see you guys on Thursday for Married at First Sight, Saturday for Love After Lockup, and Monday, again for Love After Lockup, on Monday for 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way, and Seeking Brother Husbands. So we got a new little lineup. I'm doing 4 shows now. I'm juggling so much with you guys, but I appreciate you guys coming out and, and stuff like that. Yeah, she does need to leave, Nicole. I totally agree with that. So, all right, I hope you're taking care, staying safe. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, share with your friends and all that good stuff. And, hey, we got a whole lot to talk about throughout the week, so I'll be seeing you guys every couple of days, damn near. All right, stay